Welcome back to The Gray Area, an informal podcast that is just a couple dudes having a conversation.
As a reminder, nothing we say is intended to offend anyone, but we do welcome your input in the comments below. Today we will be talking about putting armed guards or arming teachers in public schools. That's our discussion today.
I mean, I suppose private schools as well. Just schools.
Schools because I know some private schools do have a security guard, or a person to watch
the campus and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in our school, we had a police officer that would often walk through the hallways.
Right, but that police officer was responsible for 5 or 6 schools in the area.
That is true.
Right, they had... Yeah, they had the middle school next door, they had the elementary schools in the area, as well as our high school. So, I think that the police officer will definitely help, but this is more in regards to having someone there all the time, 100% of the time, as in part of the staff.
Yeah.
Or the teachers themselves. So I know that there was / is a big talk about this in the United States, because there is plenty of people there who really like to have an opportunity to shoot stuff.
Yeah, they like to play Call of Duty in real life.
Yes, and I don't blame them. Guns are fun to shoot.
Yeah, but killing people's not. I don't think teachers should be armed because they're teachers. That's like putting Bill at the 7-Eleven counter and giving him a gat. You don't do that. They're dealing with children. Would you be careful? Or no, not careful. Would you be comfortable with having your children around a person with a gun?
No. I mean, I can see where the argument is coming from.
Oh, definitely.
Where it's because of course there's a problem with school shooters who decide that it is in their best interest to walk into a room full of children and
kill them.
Yeah. So in that regard, what good is one security guard going to do? What good is a police officer on another campus going to do? The teacher in that respect is going to be, I guess, the first line of defense. But at the same time, you got to consider, you got Karen.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so let's presume that handguns are, because they take more paperwork to get them, at least in Canada. I don't know much about the US. So let's say she's got a shotgun.
Okay. Karen has a
shotgun.
Yeah.
And now she is faced with the challenge of blasting another human to save these children.
Potentially and likely a child, too.
Yes. Because, I mean, she's not going to be able to swing out a rifle and shoot accurately.
Yeah.
You're not going to give her a rifle.
No.
Handgun, maybe, depending on where you are.
And it might be easier to conceal and carry.
Yes. But the thing is, as well, if all the teachers are armed, yes, they provide a level of defense against threats like school shooters. One, if you have a problem with school shooters to that extent, where you want to arm all of the teachers in all of the classrooms,
you're doing something wrong.
There needs to be a change.
A massive overhaul.
Not in the school system.
Yeah.
I don't think that's where it needs to happen.
It seems more of a society problem.
Yeah. I mean, yes, maybe it would help. But now, all these children are in the classroom doing children things, as they do, being nosy, being
kids.
Yeah, kids being kids.
Yeah.
You never know. Like, if there was a handgun that the teacher had in her desk so that it was readily available in case of a school shooter, then you got to consider, like, what if a kid went to go get some erasers for his buddies and all of a sudden, boom, there's a gun. Hey guys, look at this. Look what I found. Poof. And that's a problem happening in households too.
Oh yeah,
where firearms are improperly stored. But then, if it's in a safe, or in a lockbox, it's not exactly ready to protect a bunch of kids.
Yeah, I mean, if they come into the room right then and there...
Wait, let's put a pause on that idea, okay? Kindergarten teachers everywhere being like, how about you sit down on our nap time mat and I'll come back, okay? Thank you.
What's the combo? Oh god, is it 52? Is it 60? It's okay, Timmy. Snack time will be over soon.
I don't think the Karens of the world are prepared to
deal with
to be the hero of the day.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, like you said, if it's Karen with a shotgun, first of all, it's Karen. She most likely doesn't want to kill anybody. And especially not a kid. Even more so, her student. If it was her student, you know, and she, out of nowhere, little Timmy comes around with an AK. She's taught little Timmy. She knows him. There's a connection there. She doesn't want to kill him.
Of course.
And now she has to go to her lockbox.
Provided it is safely stored.
The only way I could see it, it would have to be in like some sort of kind of locked cabinet, some place where kids could not get at it easily, because that'd just be...
That is a bad idea. Because, I mean, if you put it in a high school setting,
yeah,
there you go. You just gave the school shooter his weapon, provided it's not in a lockbox, which is extremely counterintuitive and counterproductive.
Yeah.
But if it is in a lockbox, I mean, yes, it's stored away from kids. So,
which is good. Nobody can grab it except for you.
Except for the teacher and whoever needs to come around and do the inspections. Because at the same time, if you arm all the teachers, you have to force all of the teachers to get a gun license.
And to have training. They need training.
Yeah, exactly. They need to learn how to use a gun. Now, Karen, right, with this school shooter that has just showed up, just like, walks into the classroom, guns down, whole bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Karen just watched that. And she has maybe shot her shotgun twice.
Or like 10 times at the range.
The range, where it was like, she barely hold up the thing. And now she just witnessed a bunch of her students get shot. And she's standing there with her shotgun that she managed to pull out of the lockbox while her other students were being shot.
Yeah.
And she now has to shoot a human.
Yeah.
Accurately.
Or she's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it such a ridiculous idea to arm the teachers.
Well, it's like when policemen can't effectively use their guns. Like, they have tasers and whatnot, but often enough, they jump the gun and they shoot.
Yes.
Right? What is Karen going to do in a situation that she doesn't want to kill little Timmy? She knows little Timmy. She doesn't want to kill. Maybe they're family friends.
See,
she wants to defuse the situation, but she has a shotgun out, and little Timmy has a rifle, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't defuse the situation if you're already wielding a weapon.
If you're gun to gun.
Yeah, it's a standoff.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, okay, so let's presume that Karen does have a gun license. Now, you also have to train the instinct of the fight response versus the flight response.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest here. Karen teaches kindergarten. I doubt that... well, I mean, there is some Karens out there that probably in their spare time they go axe throwing while deadlifting like their motorbike, right?
Yeah.
Like, but at the same, like on the flip side, they probably have a flight response, which is cower under their desk like the rest of their students are doing.
Yeah, because
so not only do you have to make all the teachers get a gun license, get trained with the gun that will be provided to them, and train them to react upon their training effectively 100% of the time.
And still be a teacher.
And still be able to get all their teaching qualifications. That is...
they just need a...
unreasonable.
Very much so. And I mean...
unreasonable.
Especially at the rate that teachers are getting paid and whatnot.
Okay, so let's say maybe non-lethals then.
Like beanbag guns?
Beanbag guns or a taser. Or I know they have like there's weird ones. Like they have bola guns that shoot bola.
Okay.
That like it shoots this cord that just wraps up your feet and you fall over.
That would be I would have so much fun with that.
Yeah. I know, right? Yeah, me too. But
okay.
But if we gave teachers non-lethals, do you think it would be a better idea? Because those require a lot less training.
Oh, of course. I mean,
well, to use them.
I mean, you can still kill somebody with a non-lethal. They're non-lethal if you use it properly, and most of the time, if you hit somebody with a beanbag gun, they're not going to die.
They're going to be very unhappy with you.
Unless you miss and you hit little Timmy in the back there, who's like a 5-year-old, you might die. But, I mean, I would, if every teacher had a bola gun or a beanbag gun, I mean, you'd have to presume that this society has gotten to a point where all teachers
this is mandatory.
Yeah, and in which case I would think it would be a lot better of an option, because you don't have the stress and worry, or you have less of a stress and worry of killing somebody.
Well, see, that's the other thing. Some of the bola launchers, there's even net launchers.
Yeah.
Right. These non-lethals are also not. They can be put into flashlights or into small boxes that fit in the palm of your hand. So it's not necessarily a gun.
It could just be like a
projectile-looking thing that kids will pick up and be like, "Ha ha! I have a gun." Oh look! I just shot you in the face with a bola, and the fish hooks wrapped into your eyes and ripped them out.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. No, but it's just like a little box.
Yeah.
So the teacher wouldn't necessarily have to lock it away, but they could have it in a
secured area,
like perhaps a desk drawer that students don't go into,
or they need a key or something like that.
Yeah. Something fast. They unlock it at the start of the day, lock it at the end of the day. Things like that. I feel like it's a better idea if we are arming teachers.
If we need to
use non-lethals.
Definitely.
Maybe not a taser. Not a taser. Because that's just a bad idea. I think definitely not a handheld taser. Like if you're gonna give them a taser, give them one of the wire tasers that's long range.
Okay, yeah. Oh, imagine like 40-year-old Bill charging this like 16-year-old with a handheld taser. That's terrifying.
Man can barely stand.
Man can barely stay.
Sprint over. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about guards? What if instead of arming all teachers, we had guards that are armed?
Okay.
What's your opinion? I feel like that would be a little bit better.
Would it?
Well, it's not every single teacher, right? So, I mean, people, if the school shooter was there in a class and he whips it out, a gun, and he lays waste to a class, nothing can really, unless the security guard is near or whatever, there's nothing that you can really do to stop that.
Yeah.
But it would prevent people from coming in and killing people, maybe, depending on how well trained this security guard and how well, monitoring their.
So you'd think they'd act as more of a deterrent?
Yes, instead of
versus
like
solution, a reaction thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I understand where you're coming from, because the thing with, some people see police officers as a challenge, like, oh, I'm gonna fight a police officer, which is dumb.
Don't
do that.
Go to jail.
That's just a bad idea. But I do get where you're coming from, where it's like, if there's police stationed somewhere, it's a deterrent from trouble-seeking individuals, or because they know that they're gonna have problems with that. So if there's a security guard posted at the school, the school shooter's gonna be like, oh,
shoot.
Literally.
No pun intended. But yeah, also I feel like, if it's during school hours, everybody's in their classes, and Bill, the security guard, is walking around the school, and then he catches little Tommy with his rifle.
With his Tommy gun?
With his Tommy gun. In that case, he could radio up some other people, say like, hey, lockdown
now, and then he can deal with it. But at the same time, then you have to consider that there's going to be, depending on the size of the school, you're going to need anywhere from 1 to like 8,
if not more.
If not more.
Yeah.
Security guards that you have to train, pay. I mean, I feel like the training would be easier for them.
Oh yeah, because
they have to sign up for it.
Yeah.
Versus saying, "Hey, to be able to teach, you need to be able to kill somebody." Imagine that as a qualification for your job. Oh, hey, yeah, just here's a shotgun. What?
Kyle's been acting up in the back. If he a substitute. Oh, what about substitute teachers?
Yes, that's another thing, because they would also have, if presuming we armed teachers, they would have to be notified of the procedures as well. Which is, I mean, to be a sub, I think you needed some kind of certification to teach.
Oh, of course, right?
So they'd have to just encompass that with the whole teaching thing in the first place.
Yeah, that's very I feel like you really disrupt the atmosphere if every teacher has a gun.
It's so impractical.
Yeah.
So impractical.
It's the only way to stop a bad guy with a chainsaw is a good guy with a chainsaw.
To quote Jim Jeffries there.
Oh boy.
But see, okay, what do you think about this? Do you think that knowing that the teachers are armed in a scenario where the teachers are armed with lethal weapons, so guns,
yes,
do you think that would pose not necessarily as a deterrent, but as more of a stress on the classroom as a whole to make students and parents more more concerned to attend the school?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if every single one of my teachers is armed, that's... I don't like being around people with guns, just in general. I like not being around guns. It gives me a great feel of safety, right?
I mean, I personally, I like going out into the bush and, like, throwing cans up and...
Okay, well, that's different. But when I'm in a learning environment...
Yes.
And these people who are teaching me have weapons readily available. Well, not super readily, but
okay,
readily enough.
One thing we didn't consider: what if they are
like holstered?
Holstered during the day, so they don't have to lock it up because it's on their person.
Oh, I don't like that. That's even worse. That's a threat.
I know that a lot of Americans would disagree with you.
Well, I'm not American. To make this clear, we are not American. We're Canadian.
Yeah.
If I were, if I'm in English class and I see Miss Apple with a pistol on her hip,
with a 1911,
it's
ready to go.
That will distract me from. If this was the norm, it would be fine. But if it just suddenly every teacher had a gun.
Yes.
That makes me very nervous.
Yes.
That's a gun. I can see it all the time, basically, unless she's sideways. But I can see it. I know it's there.
Plus, if they sat down, I bet you they would be uncomfortable with it and just lay it on the desk.
Yeah.
I would be so concerned.
Freaking Kyle
all the time. Back. I know, like, I'd be watching everyone near the teacher's desk, just like...
it's not a, the principal walks out, he has like a full on, he's in full SWAT gear.
He's strapped with his AK.
Oh boy, but yeah, no, I would definitely think that would put some pressure, I mean, not just on the kids, on the parents too. You're leaving your kids in the hands of a man or a woman with a gun.
Yes,
at their hip.
But do you think that would give a parent this sense of security? Because that teacher is now trained, more able to defend that child in the event of a school shooter.
Well, I would have to be very trusting in my kids' teachers
and in the education system.
Like I said,
its ability to train with weapons.
Train the teachers to have the weapons, and also being able to, like, I would have to have faith and a lot of trust in these teachers. Because if I don't like a teacher, or if their teacher doesn't like me as a parent, and, you know, now my son or daughter has to go to their class knowing... And I know that they're armed. Going back to your question, I'm going to leave that tangent. Going back to your question, I would say... I guess it would give me more of a sense of security in the fact that these people can now stop a school shooting attack.
Yeah.
If school shootings are such a big problem in general that all teachers need to be armed, I'm not going to feel safe whether my teachers are armed or not.
Yes.
Because it's a problem. You know, people are coming in with guns, shooting kids, and... Yeah. It's...
Okay, I get that. You? I mean, personally, I feel like if I was a parent, and I'm not, so I can't speak from a parental standpoint, but if there was a armed teacher that is taking my kid, then I feel like they'd have more of a sense of responsibility, the teacher would. And I would have confidence in that. So personally, if we're at a point where we need to arm all the teachers, I'd feel more at ease if the teacher was armed, because if they're armed, then they know how to use the weapon.
That's fair.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have the weapon.
Yeah.
I would feel even more comfortable if it was a non-lethal.
Definitely.
Personally, because believe it or not, kids are little shits.
Yeah.
And teachers sometimes get very unhappy with children. Yes, they would lose their job, but not before some very bad things could potentially happen.
Okay, but going back to the non-lethal things, now that you've said that, do you think that would make you feel more uncomfortable in the regards that if these teachers do get mad, they could still hurt your child with this weapon that they have?
Well, if they do.
I understand that there's going to be consequences for the...
Yes.
But do you feel confident that, or comfortable or secure that you have faith in these teachers that they won't harm? Because that is now...
Well, I mean, yes, I would. Because they still have meter sticks in the class. They mostly all wear belts.
That's fair.
All of the things that they used to use to beat children with are still in the classroom now. Maybe they don't have a rod, per se, but there's a meter stick, and there's a belt, and I don't feel uncomfortable while my teacher's wearing a belt. In fact, I feel more comfortable if the belt is on.
If the belt is off, you have a big teacher or something is happening, and...
yeah, no, I don't want to go anywhere near the teacher lounge. No, thanks. But anyways...
They can have their own,
Anyways, I feel like the non-lethal would put me on a higher comfort level than an armed weapon. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like, honestly, I'd be as comfortable sending them to school with the teacher not armed in our current situation as if it was a problem and they had non-lethals.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be an equal level for me,
definitely.
least, to trust in the teacher.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. If school shooters were a big crisis, I would feel a lot more comfortable if the teachers were armed with some kind of non-lethal.
Okay.
In general, yeah.
As far as the security guards are concerned, what if we armed them with non-lethals?
Even better.
I am not sure on that one.
I feel like it would take away from the
deterrent
level, right? Yeah.
I think it would depend on what the non-lethal is.
That's true. I mean,
because if it is a long-range taser that will debilitate you,
that's still a taser.
It's pretty much a gun that doesn't kill you.
Yeah.
Versus, say, like, there's this really cool thing that they use for riot control. It's like a big water tank.
Oh, like a big hose?
It pressurizes it into one solid ball of water, and it blasts it out. Like,
Oh.
It's a big water tank, and you go and you fill it up, and there's like a ball of water, and you fire it with air, and it smacks you with this big water glob. Knocks you right over.
Oh, I like that. That's like some Pokemon shit, but in
Pokemon.
Bill, use water ball.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
But see, if we give them non-lethals that are like the bolas or nets or handheld tasers,
yeah,
it would take down the deterrent. So is it really even worth it?
I mean, they're still there, and if the person was off campus in the first place, you know, then maybe, yeah, if the person was off campus and they came in, and they saw Bill with his water
cannon,
water cannon, I think yeah, he would definitely, the school shooter would definitely feel more at ease, because, you know, he can now deal with Bill and his water cannon in comparison to Bill with a shotgun that will kill me instead of a water cannon that's gonna hurt and send me flying back, but I won't die.
Yeah. With the security guard thing, I know you mentioned it when we were talking about the teachers and their weapons disrupting the class. Do you think the security guards being there would disrupt not all necessarily the class, because I'm sure they wouldn't be like in the class.
Yeah, hopefully not.
But the school environment in general. Because you know how students, they like mingle and stuff, right? Do you feel like having that adult overbearing presence there would interfere with the whole student dynamic?
No, I don't think so. I mean, kids can easily adapt, and if they're not going to talk about certain things when the security is around, I don't think it may make the kids feel more like they're in a prison in a certain way, because, you know, you're trapped in there 6 hours a day.
There's literal guards.
There's guards now. Ow. There's guards now, but at the end of the day, it's still school. It's not going to change enormously if there's a few more guys in some uniforms with some weapons on them. It may make some tough guys think they're
big and tough and they can harass the guards.
Yeah, but that's gonna happen.
But if we give them non-lethals, someone who isn't a teacher and doesn't see the kids as necessarily a companion or student, they could just whip out. If you got, you know, I don't know, some big guy, some big football jock, just, you know, sizing up the security guard. Yeah. The security guard could just tased. Of course, they can't do that.
Well, they do.
Well, they shouldn't. They can, but they shouldn't.
I mean, if we're putting security guards in schools, we're putting security guards built for, or more inclined to be around children than around adults. We're not going to give Tom, the veteran who was once a prison warden or some shit, we're going to put him in school. No, we're going to get, like, Bill, who was a counselor, and now he was a security guard for safety reasons.
So do you think that non-teacher staff should be armed instead of the teachers? Not necessarily security guards,
just like,
but the counselor,
the supervisors, or whatever.
Yeah, and the principal. I mean, our principal shouldn't be armed, but that's just how it goes.
Less, yeah. I mean, I think, well, I feel like the whole point of giving teachers these weapons is because they're in the class, they're present.
Right.
And if somebody's to come in the class, they're there, they can, you know, they see the threat, they can deal with it. If we're given, at least in our school, the principals and the vices and the whatnots usually stayed in their offices.
Yeah.
So they're not really out there much.
Well, if someone was to come into the classroom, what good's the security guard gonna do? I mean, really, if they're already in the school, if the kids somehow manage to smuggle their weapon in their backpack,
yes,
you know, then they go into their class with their backpack, they pull it out. What good's the security guard?
Well, I guess they would be there to like, you know, help, or they would go to the situation and help defend or some shit. I don't know. But I mean, principals, I don't really know what they do half the time. But security, they're on patrol. The principals, the vices, the counselors, they're usually in their offices doing office shit.
Doing office things, yeah.
So I guess you are right. I mean, if the kid's inside the school, there's already a problem, you know?
Yeah.
Because now there's an active shooter inside the school. What the security guards could do in that situation would be maybe find the kid, and if they have lethals, shoot them down. If they have non-lethals, shoot them down. They find them, they shoot them down.
Stop the threat. Yeah, but I
can see where you're getting at to like arm the people who aren't teachers.
Yeah, because I don't know. At the end of the day, I mean, really, realistically, we should be putting the money that we would fund into giving hundreds of thousands of teachers weapons and training them, or training hundreds of thousands of security guards and arming them
and paying them
and paying them.
Yeah.
We should focus all of that money and all of that effort into preventing school shooters.
Yes.
Before they happen. Rather than giving a gun to a teacher to shoot a school shooter, let's get another counselor on staff who can help deal with this child before it escalates to a point where they feel the need to murder a bunch of children.
You gotta pick that root. No, you gotta pick that root. Yeah, no, that's not it. You gotta fucking dig that weed out before it grows, cause that's the whole thing.
Nip it at the bud, I think, is what you were looking for.
Sort of, yes, but no. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I completely agree. If school shooters are a problem, it's not the schools. You don't arm. If there's a problem already existing, fix the problem. Don't try to deal with it. Fix it. Fix the school shooters. Don't deal with the school shooters.
Don't wait until it happens and then react.
Yeah.
Is what you're getting at, I think.
Exactly.
Now, I know that people will come back from the other side of the argument and say, well, you're not going to catch every kid because they're not going to want to go to a counselor. Because, let's be honest here, if you're in an emotionally unstable position, who is this random adult to you?
That's fair.
It's literally just a person who has a title, and you've been told you can go see this person when you need to talk.
Or even if you've seen them and you just aren't getting any help.
Exactly.
Use.
You getting dismissed, you know. So of course there's going to be ones that slip through the cracks.
Of course.
So in that situation, what do you think is the best course of action? Should we do anything? Should we get guards? Should we arm the teachers?
Like, you're just saying that...
So, like, because no matter what we do in prevention, there's always going to be some that slip through the cracks.
Of course.
Like with anything.
Yeah.
I mean, even in a fairly efficient program in accounting, right? There's going to be
some
that odd one that just, oh, what happened here?
Yeah. It's like
So what do you think we should do in that case? In response in response to the ones that slip through the cracks.
So like are you saying that they're in a normal like a realistic situation and a person came up with a gun on like a normal school site, or are you just saying, because I mean like you said, there are always going to be those ones who slip through the cracks, and the best thing we can do is to keep trying to seal those cracks so none get through. But we can't always, right?
So what do you think we should do in response to that? For I hate to say this, but the fewest amount of casualties.
Fewest amount. I mean,
it sound like a general planning an assault, but
well, I saw this one thing. I thought it was really interesting. So what wasps do when they're when a threat comes to them is they like to swarm that threat, be it a beetle or a spider, doesn't matter. The threat, they all swarm them. They vibrate intensely, and eventually that bug, the invader, will die. So the situation is if a school shooter were to come into the inside the school, we open all doors, release the floodgates, send all the children at that guy to vibrate very fast, heating him up and eventually suffocating him due to the pile of bodies that we have on him. That's the best way. Just
that is
charge him.
The stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I disagree.
Okay. So, okay. Let's presume, for example, that this school shooter has an AK.
He does.
Well, let's go with an AR instead. AR-15. A variant of it anyways. That bullet can probably go through 2, maybe hit a third kid's head. And he's got a clip of 50. Your mound of bodies, as soon as they run out of the classroom,
he won't expect them. And we get the fast ones to go first. So, say, little Bobby, he's faster than little Timmy. Little Bobby, he sneaks around Timmy. Now he's flanked, tackles him. That kid's on the ground, now struggling with little Bobby. Maybe little Bobby's a bit thick. He can actually now, Bobby's on Timmy. The gun is fucking in his hands because it's a 2-hand gun. It's a AK. You know, it's a big gun. Bobby's on him. Immediately, 10 seconds go by. There's now 30 kids on him. He's dead. Problem solved. Sure, you lost 10, but, you know, if he were to walk inside the school normally and go to a classroom, that's 30 dead. You just saved 20 people's lives by charging them.
I can't tell if you're serious or not.
This
is
serious.
like this.
That was one.
I'm having a hard time comprehending what you're saying here.
I completely ripped that off of the internet. No, it was just a funny story. In response to school shootings.
Yeah.
But no, I seriously, I would think that security guards, like having at least one inside the school or 1 or 2 inside the school that can go around. Maybe that is not a big overbearing presence, like you mentioned. If we were to have a whole bunch of them, he could just be a chill ass dude that's inside these schools. Sure, he's armed, but he's Teddy. You know, he's Big Ted. Everybody knows Big Ted. His
full name is Tedison.
What about you? What do you think would be the?
Personally, I think that our best response would be more similar to what we have in response to fires. So perhaps beside the fire extinguisher or something like that, there would be a non-lethal.
Okay.
A locked non-lethal.
Yeah, one of those like...
Because teachers almost always have their keys on them, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, there's lock boxes for other things beside fire extinguishers sometimes, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, I personally think we should get some of those if it becomes to be
a big problem.
Like right now, it is on the rarer side.
Yeah,
that school shootings happen.
At least this
shootings
year.
In general. I mean, this year is also very recently started, but I think that we should have non-lethals installed at, I mean, I guess key points because that's where the fire extinguishers are. Definitely in places where there's large crowds.
Yes.
Or where there could be a large crowd,
choke points,
because that way, no matter what, there is some way to access something. Because even if they're like, if we put it in a late middle school, high school, and you know, school shooters, they're thinking better, so they hit the teacher first. One of the students can go and get the non-lethal and
deal with them.
Deal with
ideally.
them. Of course. And the other thing I was going to contradict with your whole WASP theory is the fight or flight response that I mentioned earlier. I don't think a child is going to rush somebody with a weapon that will kill them.
But 600 children might. You say, Bill, go out by yourself. No. Entire class, come with me. Let's kill him. Motivation right there.
No, I disagree. But anyways.
Yeah.
Regardless, I think we should have weapons stationed in the school, not necessarily train. I mean, give teachers like maybe a 1-day seminar on how to point a taser.
Yeah.
That's it.
How to properly use
and when to use it.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yes.
Obviously.
You can't give teachers a taser and say, "Yeah, go for it."
Yeah, here you go.
Yep, there you go.
What do I use it for? I don't know. He uses it for whatever. But anyways, I think that they should be stationed through the school.
I think that would be a good solution, yeah. Yeah.
Alright, fair enough.
Thank you for listening to The Gray Area.
Feel free to share your thoughts and input with us in the comments below.
When the answer isn't black or white, it's the gray area.